We learned yesterday that human remains were found, as well as a backpack and a notebook that belonged to Brian Laundrie. They found these items yesterday when Brian's parents called the FBI and the police the night before and said they were going to join the search. The park opened to the public. As soon as his parents went, they found these items. And the apparent human remains, quote unquote, is what they're saying. The FBI. Mind you, not just hearsay. This is what the FBI said. And I will be posting the statement from the FBI at the press conference yesterday from the scene here in just a second. But I do want to address this right here. People are saying, oh, that tent must be to cover something. Like that must be where his remains were found. I believe the tent is being used as a weight, as a corner post for the crime scene tape. And my first thing, whenever I heard they found apparent human remains, I'm like, okay, well, if you're out there in the nature reserve, in the wildlife, you're mixed in with the wildlife and all these other elements that mix in with it, your bones and your stuff ain't going to be right there together. I don't think. I wouldn't imagine. Let's just be real for a second. Wild animals, they're going to take you off. I know that sounds crazy, but they're going to take you off, like, in pieces. It's not just going to be, like, right there in one area. You get what I'm saying? But hey, I could be proven wrong. I have been wrong before. I'm not claiming to know everything, child. But I will say it is really strange that they found this the day his parents go. The only day his parents go. And say they want to join the search. And then all of a sudden they find it. After spending how many weeks? How many thousands of acres? A lot. And there's going to be so many speculations, so many conspiracy theories as to what went down, what's really going down, and all this. This case has been strange from the get-go. Very strange. We can all agree on that. Now, this is his parents at the park yesterday. I just think it's odd. Out of all them thousands of acres they have searched for all these weeks, all the FBI, the dogs, the search team, the rescue team, the diving team, y'all, all these people have been searching for hours, weeks on end. All of a sudden, the day his parents go, and it happened pretty quick. Did it not? Like, they wasn't out there all day searching. It's like they just went right there. Talking about this is a trail that he frequented. Okay, well, you didn't tell him that from the jump? I'm asking a question. I guess I'm waiting on them to answer. I want to include a clip from the former chief of detectives with the New York PD. He had some thoughts. And extremely valid points, in my opinion. So, I want to add the clip here. Because what he says a lot. He used to do this. Investigate these sort of cases. Y'all, let's just hear what he had to say.
Too many strange turns that Chris and Roberta Laundrie have been involved in to not believe that something is amiss here. And then you see this, the day the park closed, reopens, they go into this specific area here. And a very large, 2,400 acres, from what I understand, the park, it abuts the Carlton Reserve. And they go to this exact spot and they find the backpack. And they identify the backpack, from what I can understand, and the notebook in this particular area. So it's quite strange. And
24,000 acres, I think, actually. 24,000.
Yeah. It's even worse. Yeah. So they find this this one location, this remote location where it's a path where people go by. We see the gentleman walking by in an early handheld video, and they're being told by the FBI agent that, well, all of a sudden we found something, we found remains. And you can see that there's they're a little taken back by it, I can see. So there's a lot of things here. This doesn't add up to coincidence. So you wonder exactly how they got there, what they knew all along. If this does look like the final chapter in this thing, one of the final chapters in this case, I can tell you that just that they find remains nearby and they find property nearby. Chances are the two belong to each other. So that's what I'm thinking right now. The FBI agent is exactly right. He's going to be there for 7 days. I've been at outdoor crime scenes. You have to cut down a lot of brush. You really have to give a very thorough search. It's not an easy thing. The dogs might bring you to other campsites where he was, but perhaps Brian was camping out there. The medical examiner responded. He did an initial investigation, and I believe the body will be removed for an autopsy inside a lab. And we'll know more.
Right, because they'll do DNA tests on the human remains. I think the thing that Kristen came up with and what she focused on in her story today, and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, but let me ask Bob the first question, and then you can weigh in on this, is that last night, well, something happened because that place, that preserve, opened up for the public again yesterday. Somebody may have seen something because they called the police. They called the FBI and said, we're going there tomorrow. So how did they know to go there tomorrow? Did someone call them? Did they get a call from somebody or find a note from their son? We don't know. But what does your gut tell you? Because they called the FBI last night and said, we're going to go there tomorrow. Meet us there.
It sounds like they got a tip from somebody, to be honest with you. I'm looking at it just from 3,000 feet now, but they could do some telephone work on that and see where that came from. If it did come through the telephone or was delivered by in person, or through a computer, it's unclear. But for them to go to the exact location, it's very, very strange in that big park. So they'll go forward with that. Did they know more? Were they holding back? And that'll be determined as in the next couple of days, I think. The DNA is the important thing. Let's get this to find out exactly who this is if we can. Dental records, DNA, fingerprints, if they're still can be brought up after 5 weeks in the wild. You know, and also tattooing, if you can still see that. Looks like Brian has some tattoos. Yeah. And clothing. Will they be able to, the clothing found on the remains? Are there additional remains that the cadaver dogs can find if they search for decomposition? You know, is there a nearby campsite that they can identify? And could the coroner tell us about the same time of death, or close to it, like he did with Gabby, like they didn't get with Gabby in Wyoming?
I think we all have the same sketchy feeling, the same questions. How was it that the parents could pinpoint the area where these objects, items, and apparent human remains were found? Now, they will be sending off the remains and doing testing to see if the remains are actually those of Brian Laundrie's or not. I have heard that if they could go off fingerprints, it would take a matter of hours. If they have to do dental, it would take a couple of days. But if they have to extract DNA from bones, it could take up to a week. So either way, we should know within a week, at the latest, whether these remains are in fact those of Brian Laundrie. I know police and FBI agents are saying that the area in which these items were found was recently underwater. So they're trying to put all the questions to rest as to, well, how did the parents know just to pinpoint this if the law enforcement and search teams, numerous people and animals, the dogs, child, have been out there for weeks searching? So how is it they didn't stumble upon any of this? So they're saying, well, this area was underwater. They've had dogs, dive teams, vehicles that drive through these areas that are underwater. Y'all, I don't know. I don't know at this point. I do not know what to think at this point. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure you subscribe because we will be covering this. We will be talking about all the latest developments as they come. Y'all, this is by far The most bizarre case ever, in my opinion. Like, it's just everything about this case is bizarre to me. Now, like I said earlier, I do want to upload the statement from law enforcement where they state what they found at the park.
Good afternoon, Josh Taylor with the Northport Police Department. Thank you for your continued diligence on this story, and thanks for your patience. As you know, the Northport Police Department has worked collaboratively with the FBI throughout this investigation. Special Agent Michael McPherson is going to make a prepared statement. There's not going to be any questions today, but hopefully it answers some of them. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael McPherson. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Tampa Division. As you're aware, the FBI and the Northport Police Department and our state and local law enforcement partners have been searching the area of the Carlton Reserve for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie. These items were found in an area that up until recently have been underwater. Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area. It's likely the team will be on scene for several days. I know you have a lot of questions, but we don't have all the answers yet. We are working diligently to get those answers for you. We are grateful for the dedication and professionalism of the Northport Police Department, along with our partners from the state and local agencies. Complex investigations such as this cannot be accomplished by one agency alone, but there's just too many agencies to name them all here today. Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity for the safety of the public and to protect the integrity of our work. We have no additional comment related to today's activities. Our FBI Denver office is the lead investigative agency, and all future inquiries should be directed to them. We appreciate the tremendous support from the public and continue to ask for your assistance in bringing this investigation to close. Thank you.
Was the backpack found near the Justice for Gabby! 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 Justice for Gabby!
Now, as we all know, protesters, media, the neighborhood, everybody has been in Brian Laundrie's parents' home neighborhood, basically screaming, yelling, protesting. And like I've said from the jump, I don't know what the whole point in that is. I understand people want justice for Gabby, but harassing people, stalking people, that just takes it to a whole nother level. You don't want to do that. I mean, let's be honest. This is doing nothing productive for the investigation whatsoever. It really isn't. In my opinion. That's just my opinion. We all got opinions. We all got them. But a few of the news stations, local news stations, went out there and they done some coverage. So we just going to mosey on down there, down the street, down to Brian's parents' house and see what's going on.
You deserve every bit of this!
Those gathered outside of the home of Laundrie's parents all say they're eager for answers.
We just want to know what happened. I guess that's the thing. We're just curious.
And their answers, Brian Kensel says, may be coming soon.
Retired special agent with the FBI in the Tampa office.
Right off the bat.
Good afternoon. My name's Michael McPherson.
Kensel says the presence of the special agent in charge at today's press conference is telling.
Justice for Gabby! Justice for Gabby!
That within the FBI is unusual unless it's a major development.
The Northport police are here on scene, and it is believed that Brian Laundrie's parents are inside the home. Now, as you said, their attorney released a statement to Fox 13 News that says Chris and Roberta Laundrie were at the reserve earlier today when human remains and some of Brian's possessions were located in an area where they had initially advised law enforcement that Brian may be. Chris and Roberta will wait for the forensic identification of those human remains before making any additional comments. Now, people out here at the family home are talking, though. One local and her mom stopped by to see what was happening here. Here's what her reaction to the developments.
I just think it's very unfortunate that if he is not found alive, that her family can't ask him any questions like, why did you do it? Like, what was going on?
Now, this is the most active the Laundrie home has been in a few weeks. While all of the effort was focused on looking for Brian in the reserve, there is a growing memorial on their front lawn here at the house, and police are here making sure neighbors can get through the streets. Now, again, Brian went missing more than 5 weeks ago, and tonight there is a growing group of protesters here outside of his parents' home. They have signs. They've been yelling "Justice for Gabby" and trying to entice a comment from his parents. But it sounds like from their lawyer that they will not be saying anything until we know for sure what the remains were that were discovered today.
Now, as we all see and hear, these are major developments in this case, in this search, in this investigation. I will keep everybody up to date as I get updates. I'm not going to post every single conspiracy theory I see out there because at this point, there's a lot, child. There's a whole lot. And I got 2 other YouTube channels that I got to work on. So, y'all, I'm not going to be covering every single conspiracy theory. But I do want to know your thoughts and your opinions on this case. So, please leave them in the comments below. And remember to always keep it respectful. If you don't agree with something somebody says or something I said, that is fine. You ain't got to be hateful and mean about it. You could just keep it scrolling. I mean, we can all be adults here and we can all, keep it respectful. Be sure you subscribe and click the bell to all. That way you'll be notified every time I upload. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate it more than you know.